Hello everyone, it's Pradal Pathak this side and watching my YouTube channel pyGuru. Friends, this is the fourth tutorial in the game development series with Python and pygame. And here in this particular tutorial series, we are creating the Google Chrome Dino clone. Okay. So in the previous tutorial, we added the cactus and pterosaurs in our game. So our game looks something like this. So let me just run this game once. And yes, so our game currently looks something like this. We have added our player and the cactus, but currently we are not taking collision detection in account. So in this particular tutorial, we are going to add collision detection to our game. So for this, what we are going to do is, it's very simple. Pygame by default provides us a way to handle collision detection. Okay, so we do not have to do anything very big. We can just simply check collision detections like this. For this, first of all, we are just going to our player, and we are going to create a variable that is a mask variable. So let me just go to player, and here somewhere you can create a variable called self.mask. So let's just go to the end of our update function and create a self.mask variable. So self.mask equals pygame.mask from surface. This is a method available to us. This will be mask, not mask. Okay, so mask from surface, and here we have to pass the image. Okay, so self.image. The same thing we have to do for our cactus and our Terra. So let me just add this particular line to here, and then add this particular line in the Terra update. Okay, so we have added the mask self.mask variable to our game's objects. Now let's try checking for collision detection. So first of all, we are going to iterate to our group, that is our cactus group. Okay, so let's just iterate to our cactus group, and you can apply a for loop. If you are using a group, you can apply a for loop on it, simply like we can do on list. So for cactus in cactus group, what we are going to do is we are going to check for collision detection. So if pygame dot sprite dot collide mask, now this is a function available to us by default in pygame, using which we can check for accurate collision detection between two sprites in our game. Actually, it checks for collision detection based on pixel value. Okay, so it's more accurate than the normal sprite collide method. That's why we are using this particular mask method. Okay. Now we are just going to check the collision between our Dino, see our player name is Dino, and then our cactus. So our cactus, that's all. And if there is a collision detection, what we are going to do is we are just going to make our speed variable 0. Okay, so our ground and cactus will automatically stop whenever there is a collision detection. And let me just do the same thing for our Terra group. So let me just copy paste these lines, and here I want to do it for Terra group. So let me just update the names here. So again, if there's a collision detection between the bird and the Dino, again our game will just stop. So let us just try this and let's see if it's working or not. So yes, we have checked it. Now let's try jumping on it. Yes, so see, our all things have stopped, okay, except the Dino animation is still going on. So we have to check this thing in keep this thing in mind. So let's just try running it once again and let's see if it works or not. So here is our Dino, and if I collide, see, everything looks good except the Dino is moving backward, because here we have written speed -1. So when speed becomes 0, it becomes -1, this particular value. That's why Terra is growing in the backward direction. Okay, so we have to keep these things in mind. So for this, what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to create a variable here, self.alive, inside our Dino init method. See, this is our Dino method, and here we will create a variable self.alive, which will be true. It means our Dino is currently alive. Now what we are going to do is we are just going to put all of this code if under this particular thing, self.alive, then only we have to jump, update our position, or animate our things. That's all. So let me just put all of these things inside a if condition, that is if self.alive. We have to do the same thing for rest of the cactus and terra. So for this, what we are going to do, we are going to take another argument here in the update function, that is our Dino a player. We will be taking a player as an argument. Now we can just go inside the update function, and here we have to create a variable Dino, and again we can check if Dino dot is alive. Sorry, Dino dot alive. So it looks good. Then we will just put all of this update function thing inside this Dino.alive condition. Let's do the same thing for our Terra, and here again let's just do the same. So if Dino.alive, now these things will only update when our Dino is alive. Otherwise, they will stop at their particular position, and we will still these sprites will still be shown on the window, but they will not update. Their position will not update. Neither they will animate. Okay. So let's just try running this once again. So yes, still we have this issue and it's not currently working. Okay, here it's, sorry, my fault. Here we have to do one thing. Dino.alive equals false. Okay, whenever there's a collision detection, we are just going to make this Dino.alive thing false. Okay, so this way our things will not update further. So let me just try running it again once again, and we have to do a few more modifications here. So we'll be doing it. So if I jump on it, yes, so everything's stopped. There's no animation. The cactus has stopped. The ground has stopped. Everything has stopped. The only problem with this particular thing is there are few things will still be generated. See, since our counter is still running on, these enemies will still be generated on their particular position. So what we have to do is we have to put all of these things of generating the enemies inside the if condition. So we are just going to do the same thing here. If Dino.alive, it means we will only generate enemies when our Dino is alive. Otherwise, there's no meaning of generating these enemies. Okay. Again, we can just put this entire collision detection thing inside the if condition, because we do not need to check the collision detection once our Dino is dead. So that's all we are doing here. Yes, so we are good to go now, and let's try running once again. It will not matter very much. Okay, so if I just jump on it, so here we are still it is still updating. So why it is still updating? Let's see. If sorry, we have to put this particular thing inside the if condition. That's all. Now everything will be good, and let's try once again, and let's see if it's working correctly or not. So let me jump upon it. Now see, the mass collision is a more accurate collision detection between sprites. Okay, see now here Dino is exactly touching our cactus, then only our game has stopped. Okay. Otherwise, there's one more method, that is pygame.sprite.sprite collide. I am not using that particular function because it only checks collision detection between the sprite border, sprite rectangle, and this particular cactus rectangle. So if there's a little touch between both two, our game will over. Okay, so it's not accurate that way. It will not work very best in our game. That's why we are using this particular mass collide mass function. That's all. Okay. Now what we have to do, we have to think of a reset thing. Okay, we know that our game has been over. So what we want is whenever we press the space key, our game should start once again. So that's what we are going to do here. So for this we have to do few modifications first. So first of all, since here we have written this thing, let me just cut this line here. Okay, and we are just going to put it as separate if condition. If event.key equals pygame.key up, jump equals true. So yes, it's good now. Now the next thing that we are going to do is once again we have to only make this jump variable true if Dino is alive. Okay, even if we do not do this, there will not be much difference in our game, because inside the update function of our Dino we are already checking to jump our Dino when it is alive, otherwise not. Okay, so that's it. Else, see, if Dino is alive, then whenever we press space key, our Dino should jump. But when it is not alive, what we want to do with the space is that it should restart our game. So that's what we have to do. So let's just do this thing. else here we can do it. Sorry, tag else. Sorry, else. For resetting our game, we'll create a reset function just now. So let's go above here. Just below the objects, we can create our reset functions. Okay, just below the objects, let's create a function that is reset. Now this function will reset our game, and we can now replay our game. So def reset. Okay, now whenever this reset function will be called, what we want is we want to make a global counter. We want to make our counter variable 0. So if you are trying to change the value of some variable inside a function, you have to declare it as global. Otherwise, the value that you change will only be affected inside this particular function. What I want is whenever I change the value of this counter variable, it should appear outside this particular reset function too. That's why we are making it global. Okay, that's all. I hope you already have knowledge of global keyword. What we want to do is, first of all, I want to make my counter variable equals 0. Then I want to make my speed variable back to 5. That's it. And then what I want to do is, whatever there are cactuses in our group, these two groups, I want to just make them empty. So let me just copy these lines and let's just make them empty. So we can generate new cactus and append them to our group. So there's this particular method, that is empty method, by using which you can delete all the sprites in a sprite group. Okay, so everything looks good. The only thing that we are not resetting currently is this particular, the position of our dino. So let me just do it once again. Just run the game and show you what I mean by this. So if I just collide on this, see, so our game has stopped. Now if I press the space key, you will see that our dino is here. It's not looking good. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to reset the position of our dino too. Then only we can further play it. Okay, so what we want to do is we will just go inside this update function and we will create another method here, def reset. It will take a function self, it will take an argument self. What we want to do is we are just going to make cut all these things here and paste it inside the reset function. That's all, and not much. Okay, so everything looks good. And now what we are going to do is we are just going to reset our dino too. So you can just call the dino.reset here like this. So everything's now looks good. Self.base, everything looks good. Now let's try once again and let's see if it works or not. Okay, we have some error. Dino object has no attribute alive. So sorry. Inside the init function, just below it, we have to call our function, that is self.reset once. Then only these variables will be created. Okay. Since we want to create this particular variables, we have to call this particular method, reset method, inside this init function. Then it should work now. So let's just try once again and let's see if it works. Again, we have some error. Let's see what is this. Num x is not defined. So for that, what we have to do is we have to make it as self.x. Okay, so self.x looks good now. Let's try once again. This is how we learn coding. Okay, there are lots of errors. So yes, it looks good now. The game has stopped. Now if I press the space key, it starts. Everything looks good and the game starts from the beginning. Yes, so I'm collided, so game has stopped now. One more thing, when I get collided, I want to change this particular sprite. Now for this, I have a sprite in my game that is inside the Dino folder. There's this particular 8 sprite. I want to show this particular sprite whenever my Dino is not alive. So let's see how can we do it. It's very easy. We will create a variable here again, and it will be responsible for keeping our Dino, keeping the image of our Dino, dead Dino. So dead image, you can create an image like this, self.image. We have to just load it. So let me just copy paste this particular, we can just copy paste this particular line from here, paste it here, and here we have to change it to 8.png, and here we have to make it self.dead image. That's all. And here we have to do the same thing. So self.dead image, self.dead image. Okay, so everything looks good. Now the only thing that we have to do is, see, we are checking for condition here. If cell.alive, it means the dino is alive, then we have to update it. Otherwise, if it is not alive, we have to just change our image, that is cell.image to cell.dead image. So what it will do is, it will update our dino image. So we can just try running our game once again, and let's see if it works or not. So it looks good. Currently it has a white border. Now when I collide with it, see, the white border is gone. So it looks good. Okay. Again, when you restart it, it goes back to this. So everything looks good. The only thing that we are now going to do is add a game over thing. Okay. We should know that the game has been over. So for this, we have two images that we want to include in our game. Now for these images, you have to check out the video description. There's a link. You can just download the entire source code and the resource from that particular link. Okay. So I want to show this particular game over image whenever my game gets over, and I want to add this replay image too. So whenever you click on it, the game should start. Okay. So everything looks good. Now for this, what we are going to do, just below the colors, we are just going to load these images. So image here. Okay, so let's just load these images and then show them. So for this, the first image that I want to do is load is game over img. This will load our game image, and let me just paste it. Yes, so everything looks good. The image that I want to load here is game over image. So remember, again, it's inside our assets folder and its name is game over. So we are just loading it like this. So Control D and paste it here. So we have to just update it. We have to just resize it, and we have to change its value. And I want to change it to just wait a second. So we have to just resize it, and I want to resize it like this: 200 pixels to 36 pixels. Okay, now see, I have already added this sprites to my original game. That's why I know the exact value. You can just change this value. You can just try your own values. Okay. The final thing is that we can just display it here. See, we can, since our dino is not alive, we can check if our dino is alive or not. Okay, so let's see if it's alive or not. You can just put a if condition here. If not dino.alive, then you can just show this particular image on your screen. So let's just show it. Win.blit and game over img, and we can just show it at this particular position, width by 2 minus 100. Now I'm just subtracting this 100 because the width of our image is 200 pixels. So if I want to keep it in center, I have to subtract 100 on it. So width by 2 is 300 minus 100. So our image will be displayed at 200, 55 pixels. That's all. Let's just try running this game once again, and let's see if it works or not. So if I just go there and click, and if I get out, yes, so it's working fine. So is game over. The one thing that now we have to add is the replay image. So let me just copy these lines and paste it here. We are just going to modify these lines and for our replay image. Now our replay image is special kind of thing. So let me just first of all load it. So our game name is our image name is replay.png, and I want to wait a second, just let me finish. I want to resize it like this. Its size should be 40 by 36. Again, you can change the value. It's up to you. 40 by 36. Now what I want to do is, first of all, I want to create a rectangle out of it. Okay, again we have been doing extracting the rectangles of our sprites in the classes. Okay, like this here. Self.text equals self.image.get. Okay, so we have to do the same thing here. Get rect. That's all. Now I want to make the replay rect. Let me just copy this line and paste it here. Dot x equals width by 2 minus 20. Now again 40 is the width of our image, replay image, so I am subtracting 20 from it to keep it at center. And then I want to make the replay rect dot y equals 100. So I want to show it at this particular position. Again, we can just show it here. Let me just copy these lines and paste it here. So replay img. Now you might ask why we have this particular thing for the game or image. We have sorry. So for the game or image, we have directly pasted the x and y positions, but for this particular replay image, we are creating the rectangle. There's a reason for this, and I will show it on a minute. What I want is whenever I get out, so let me just get yes. So what I want is whenever I click this particular replay button, our game should get restart. So this is the thing that I want to implement. So for this, we have created the rectangle. Okay. If you want to, if you have some image like some buttons, and if you want to click on that, and then your game should start, then you have to create a rectangle of it. Okay. Then only you can check for collision detection between your mouse pointer and your button. So what we have to do here now is we have to create first of all few variables. So let me just create our variables here. We'll just come here and we will create a variable here that is mouse position. And initially our mouse will be at particular -1, -1. Now it's up to you where you want to keep your mouse. I want to keep it at -1, -1. Now we'll just come inside our event handling loop and we will check for mouse clicks now. Currently we have been checking for keyboard clicks. Now let's check for mouse clicks. It's very easy to implement. You have to just type like this. If event.type equals pygame dot mouse button down. If it's yes, then what we have to do is we have to make our mouse position, which is currently 1, -1, -1, equal to the position of your mouse. So if you are using the event handling to check for mouse clicks, you can get the current location of your mouse like this event.pos, which is event.position, which will give your mouse position, current mouse position. So let me just copy these lines. Now it will check for up here. It means if you have removed your fingers from your mouse, then we are just going to reset our mouse to -1, -1. Okay, so everything looks good. Now here we have to check if we are clicking on our mouse or not. We can check it like this. If replay rect dot collide point. Now if you want to check for a collide, there are several things that we can check, like collide rect, collide rect all, collide list all, collide point, collide rect, and collide mask. So we are just going to check for collide point because there's a point which we want to check if it's colliding with our image or not. So we are just going to check the collision with the rectangle of our image. Okay, so collide point, and here we have to pass mouse position. So let's just pass mouse position. If yes, it will just restart our game. So let's just call the reset function here. So it's done now. So this is it for this video. In the next tutorial, we will try to add the score and sounds to our game. Yes, so everything looks good. If I just click it, so our game will restart. Yes, so this is it. Now in the next video, we'll add the score and then the sounds, then the clouds, stars, and all those remaining things. Okay, so this is it. Thank you. See you in the next tutorial.